Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Welcome po sa isa na namang episode ng online series ng EdukTrends PH kung saan ikaw ay in sa edukasyong digital. Ako nga po pala si Rikka Gonzales, former Institutional Art Coordinator mula sa De La Salle Santiago Zobel School. Sa araw na ito, ako po ay mag-share sa inyo ng mga experiences ko sa pagtuturo sa Senior High School Arts and Design track kung saan ako ay gumamit ng iba't ibang tech tools sa pagtuturo. Ready na po ba kayo? Just like what I have mentioned, I'll be sharing with you tech tools and discipline-based art education. For this episode, we are going to discuss discipline-based art education, technology integration, and tech tools. The most important question that we should ask ourselves, especially for teaching art, is how do we teach art? How do we implement the curriculum? How do we facilitate learning? These questions are vital, and these questions will also help us later on in identifying tech tools that will be helpful, at least in our plans, especially in this new normal. In 1982, the Getty Center for Education in the Arts has been involved in the theoretical development and classroom implementation of discipline-based art education. Discipline-based art education is not a curriculum, but a comprehensive approach that draws upon four foundational disciplines. And these are art history, art criticism, aesthetics, and art production. Tungkol saan nga ba itong apat na discipline ng art education? Art history deals with the study of artists. It is where we explore the contribution of art in culture and society. Art history is also where we explore art periods such as the Renaissance, Baroque, the Gothic era. We also try to explore and understand the evolution of art from the Western world until now, where it is modern and contemporary. Sa art criticism naman, this is where we try to analyze and interpret visual form. It is where we try to make judgment on the qualities that makes art beautiful or aesthetic. Aesthetics from the word itself means beauty or beautiful. So this is where we make judgments and we base our perception of beautiful in different meanings. Maybe it's about what we grew up in. So for example, ako, I grew up in a family of artists. So and they're all realists. So my perception of beautiful is when things look very fine and real. Art production naman, from the word itself, of course, is the discipline of art making. So this is the creative process where we try to design, build, create beautiful works of art. Production, I think, the creative development really comes in because not everyone is born skillful or not everyone is born with great talent when it comes to art, but it's something that we can develop over time. For example, in grade 1, diba? If you try to look back, in grade 1 art, you are taught about the elements of art, specifically lines, shapes, pinapag-drawing tayo ng mga nakikita natin sa paligid, like yung mga halaman or yung mga taong nakikita natin. And if you try to compare your work to now, of course, for sure naman siguro, meron tayong makikitang difference. So art production for me is developmental based. It's a creative development. It's something that progresses over time. By practice, discipline-based art education, combining all these four, art history, art criticism, aesthetics, and art production, is said to provide students with a rich experience in studying and learning art and at the same time appreciating it. It is also in our curriculum. Sa DepEd curriculum guide, it's actually discipline based where there are topics that deals with art history. For example, in grade 9, inaaral nila yung Western art. In grade 7, they study Philippine art. Grade 8, Asian art. And then pagdating ng grade 10, it's all about exploration of media and different tools. So that's art history. Criticism and aesthetics is actually a good strategy that you can integrate, and you actually should try to integrate criticism and aesthetics in everything that you do, because this will give a holistic approach to studying art, which na I believe leads to the students appreciating what they do and what they're learning. Art production is something that is already um, in the routine of the teacher. Of course, we always do art production, even if those things are simple collage work, photo collage pa yan, or kung nagpapadrawing kayo sa papel, nagpapadala kayo ng iba't ibang materials, maybe something that they can easily find at home, or you try to encourage your students to explore real art materials such as oil pastel, crayons, some of you baka nagpapapaint pa kayo. So that's art production. It is important to discuss the three content areas first. Art history, tapos you try to encourage the students to add their perception of what is beautiful whenever they're planning. Don't limit them whenever they're thinking of things, because you wouldn't know how creative our children or our students can be. And then after that, maybe you can try to ask them, this is where art criticism comes in. Why did they design their artworks that way? Why did they use the materials they've chosen to create their artwork? Why are the elements of art, for example, placed in specific ways? So this is where you get to analyze and interpret what the art means for them and how other people see and or perceive their artwork. Sharing is a good way of tackling art criticism and aesthetics. In sharing, you may want to allot a few minutes where specific students can showcase their work to other people, whether it's to their teacher or to their classmates or peers, and get feedback. Maybe kung ano yung pwede nilang i-improve sa gawa nila, or kung paano naintindihan ng classmate nila yung ginawa nila. Masyado ba siyang mukhang abstract or madali siyang intindihin? Tungkol saan kaya? Is it political art? Or is it simply just capturing the beauty of nature, just like in landscapes and seascapes? Photography ba yan? Ano yung purpose ng art nila? Doing these things will actually provide them with a richer experience when it comes to learning and studying art. So that is discipline-based art education. Again, discipline-based art education is not a curriculum, but actually a comprehensive approach integrating these four: art history, naaral nila yung mga artists, criticism, they get to analyze art, aesthetics, they get to judge what is beautiful for them and what is not, probably, and art production. Now, let us proceed to the main part of my presentation, which is about technology integration. So I read this quote from Molly Marshall, and she said, by opening doors through the use of technology in our classrooms, we are creating connections for students to become engaged and take charge to their own learning. Napaisip ako nung nabasa ko siya. In an art teacher's perspective, we usually say that technology, for I think for grade school and for the early parts of junior high school, we usually say that technology is somehow difficult to integrate when it comes to skill-based subject. Kasi nga, we're teaching visual arts and we're expected to teach skills, drawing skills, painting skills, sculpting skills, etc. So it's very eye-opening when I read this quote from Molly Marshall. Kasi sabi niya, in this paper about emerging technologies in art education, there are various ways where we can integrate technology whenever we're teaching art. And it is something that I tried exploring um, fully for my classes when I was tapped to teach senior high school arts and design track at the La Salle Santiago Isabel School. I was the first art teacher in the senior high school strand, and I taught all subjects basically. I started teaching contemporary arts from the Philippine regions. Kung tama pa yung pagkakaalala ko nung title ng subject or yung course title. And as time goes on, of course, I was tapped to teach all subjects in senior high school arts and design. I actually taught contemporary Philippine arts to all strands. Being a teacher of arts and design, syempre, the challenges are there. Number one, our school is very good in integrating technology in teaching and learning. Second of all, the challenge really comes in sa paggamit ng technology sa arts. Kasi my experience then in using technology was just for Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, which I think I'm not really good at. We also make brochures. Gumagawa rin kami ng mga tarps, nag-design kami ng iba't ibang bagay for the school. But I'm not used to the new forms of digital art, like drawing in an iPad or illustrating something online, making films, animation, etc. So it really was very challenging for me. But how did I use technology, or how did I integrate technology in my classes? Let me share with you the following. First is blended learning. So our school actually has this program called the Next Generation Blended Learning, where we combine teaching and learning strategies face-to-face, tapos online. So in my class, let me just share with you this video. So in my class, this is how we use blended learning. So of course, I have a learning management system, which is Google Classroom. Everyone uses Google Classroom, if not Edmodo or Schoology. So in Google Classroom, this is where we post our announcements, classworks, instructions, and I was able to explore different modalities or blended learning platforms. Nag-flip classroom ako. If you're familiar with that, flip classroom is actually a modality where you give something in advance, something probably that they can read about. It's helpful because, of course, we only have an hour in art, and usually in junior high school, you only meet once a week. In senior high school, I'm lucky because we meet 5 times a week. But flip classroom is still helpful because I get to introduce topics in advance. I don't need to tell as in yung lahat ng information. I can give them a reading, or I give them a handout in advance about a specific topic. They read it at home. They spend some time, learning about it, and then learning about it at home, and then we can discuss whatever it is that they read about, whatever was the homework about. So it's very helpful kasi nga, yun nga, naibibigay ko na yung information in advance. And doon na lang ako sa processing part. It's very helpful, lalo na kung nagbabasa talaga yung mga estudyante nyo or gumagawa sila ng assignments. The next one that I really like using is station rotation. So station rotation is really helpful for me, especially when I want to introduce concepts to them all at once. For example, if I want to introduce about different media, visual arts ba yan, applied arts ba yan, it's easy because I get to introduce everything at once already dahil nga 1 hour lang. Sipin mo, if I won't use station rotation, baka yung 1 hour, puro about fine arts lang yung madiscuss ko about visual arts. But with station rotation, they get to explore on their own all these art genres or media or techniques. Minsan, ginagawa ko rin yung station rotation. Sa loob mo yun ng 1 oras. So very helpful talaga siya. These are the benefits of blended learning in my classroom or using technology in the classroom. Number one, online resources. There are so many resources online that you can get about art. Luckily, now there's internet. But before, it was very hard to look for information about, for example, Philippine art. Napakahirap maghanap ng mga references about that. But online, there are a lot of authors and publishers who post their works, for example, in academia or just Google simply. Nasa Google na lahat. Type mo lang siya, Philippine art. For example, if you want to teach about Fernando Omersolo, before, pupunta ka pa ng library para makahanap ng libro kay Fernando Omersolo. Ngayon, everything is just there. So, napakadaming resources online. You just have to select good websites, helpful websites, yung hindi ka sisendan ng mga spam. There are so many resources, websites online that can really help you out. For example, Western art. We all know na ang mga hardbound na mga libro about art is not that cheap. So visiting the websites of, for example, Museum of Modern Art is really helpful, or tate.org, because they have all the information that I need if I want to teach about Western art. Second is increased in student participation. With technology, I think, mas naging interesting para sa mga bata yung inaaral nila. Imagine if I'm just in front of the classroom talking about, art history and different artists from ancient and classical art. Parang medyo boring siya. When I was at school, I find art history boring. But yeah, they find it more interesting whenever they're learning from their gadgets, or at least when you allot a specific time where they can explore specific concepts. Some of the kids na naturuan ko before would actually say me they find it interesting because they can see a lot of information online and they are in charge of researching about it, which is a challenge for them. Kaya, there's an increase in student participation based on my experience. Third one is promoting creativity. With the use of technology, of course, we provide activities wherein students get to create outputs using their iPads or laptops. And you get to see the creative abilities of these students. They really come up with different interpretations of whatever it is that you give them, whether it be a tarpaulin, an image, a photo collage, etc. They also get to check inspiration online. They can check websites with the same output na nire-require mo from them. And they get to find different references that they can browse through and take inspiration from, which is really good. One of the risks, though, is that there are really students na kopya na lang kung ano yung nakita nila sa internet. But it's up to you, the teacher, to encourage your students to be more creative, unique, or at least try to twist whatever it is that they see online. Lastly, promoting 21st century skills. I believe that by using technology or by integrating technology in our classroom, by doing blended learning, etc., really get to promote 21st century skills. Technology is something that is already part of this world. And after they graduate, they're expected to perform skills such as researching. They're expected to know how to use the computer, and like before, wala naman siya sa mga requirements pag naghanap ka ng trabaho. You get to promote creativity, which is one. Collaboration, number two. With the use of technology, they can actually collaborate virtually, which is really good. Because noon, pag nagpa-project ka, kailangan mag-meet pa kayo ng mga classmates mo somewhere, and you have to ask permission from your parents. Now they can collaborate virtually, which is a good way of maximizing, the use of technology. One of the 21st century skills as well. So now I'll be sharing with you a video that I asked from two of my former students in senior high school arts and design track. They're the first batch of arts and design students at the LSL Santiago Zubel School, and this is how they think technology helped them in the arts and design track activities.
Technology made things more accurate, especially for the dimensions. Software has opened a new door for more accurate, powerful simulations and site analysis without having to be at the location. Technology can be used in other professions such as industrial design, digital art, computer graphics, computer animation, virtual art, music production, and etc. Technology allows for experimentation. The ability promotes incredible imagination. Because it is very interactive, it leads to a comprehension of structure.
Hi, my name is JB Piñano, and I'm here to talk about how I use technology in arts and design. I think it's a given that you can't avoid using technology in this day and age. I came into arts and design as a writer. So I obviously had my trusty laptop with me. And then as I progressed through my classes, I got an inclination towards photography. And I had my camera with me throughout the entire thing. Without these things to help adhere to my interests, I truly believe I wouldn't be who I am today. Right now, I'm on my gap year interning for a branding company here in Miami, Florida. Back to school, there were a bunch of activities that made us use technology for obvious reasons, but I'm gonna specifically talk about the ones that are helping me in my application towards my uni. And those were the short films I made in my classes. But the format and how I made all those short films were pretty much the same. I would conceptualize an idea given what the teacher is asking for. I would go on my laptop, then go to Final Draft, which is a script writing software, and write the script. I would then go film with my classmates, and then I'd go back to my laptop, I'd edit, and then I'd submit. That's pretty much it. That's how I use technology in arts and design.
So that's how they use technology in arts and design. Now to move forward, we are now going to discuss about tech tools. Ano-ano ba yung mga apps or software na ginamit namin sa arts and design? These apps, or whatever it is that I'll be sharing with you now, are just based on experience. I'm not promoting anything. But these are really good apps that I personally used when I taught arts and design. And these are what some of my students also use then. So we have the following, which is basically the main apps that we used. I had students who are very interested in sculpture, so I recommended SketchUp for them. It's something that I'm not very much good at, but we're trying to develop that skill using SketchUp. We also have Behance, Autodesk SketchUp. We have Photoshop, of course, and Google Drawing. So the presentation that will come later on is crafted into different parts, and it actually it's anchored in the four disciplines of art education. If you still remember, art history, art criticism, aesthetics, and art production. So for art history, we actually have the following apps called the art circles and color uncovered. So those two apps, itong color uncovered and art circles, was my favorite. Because everything is just there. There's a window where you can explore different artists or art styles. For example, punta ka sa browser ng pop art. So yeah, there's a part there where you can explore art styles, pop art. Sino yung mga artists sa pop art? Halimbawa si Andy Warhol, si Roy Lichtenstein, ganun. We also have different YouTube channels for art history. We have the National Geographic, TIP, we have TEDx, the Art Assignment, Museum of Modern Art, and Art Gallery MSW are some of my favorites. They have basically anything about art, whether it's about artists or the contribution of artists na about society, which is what art history is all about. We also have facts about different art periods. Marami silang video about old art periods, which I think are really interesting. I personally like watching these videos because I get to learn a lot of things, especially how art developed over time. How art evolved over time. It really helped me understand, different concepts on how artists' background help them become who they are today. So yun, how it contributed to what they can do as artists. So yeah, these are some of my favorite channels. Next are purposes on how you can integrate technology. Next one are the purposes of integrating technology. It's something that I was able to build over time. First, I think, is to create. Technology helped us in art production. It really helped a lot. Technology now is not limited to us just working on paper, just working on canvas. Being able to use technology apps, phone apps, whether it's mobile apps or nasa iPad ba yan, iOS, Android, etc. Being able to use these apps, we get to, I think, enrich our experience as artists. We get to try out different avenues for expressing our ideas, our thoughts, and our creativity, basically. That colorful one on the bottom left, it's called Pic Collage. Actually, for photo editing siya. I think it has filters. They like using this one specifically, of course, for collage works or just photography in general. The one beside that is Snapseed, which is a personal favorite of mine. Adobe Photoshop, as we know, is a paid software. You may want to get trial version, pero 7 days lang siya. But I don't, of course, encourage doing that. Snapseed is a good version of the app. You can use it for Android phones or iOS devices. The big one is Autodesk SketchUp. We have iMovie, the one with the camera icon, and Sketchbook Express. So, yeah, technology really helped when it comes to, providing a different platform or avenue for our production. So the next one is to share. The second purpose. So from creating to sharing. This website is the one that I built for my class. Their Arts and Design Batch 2018, the first batch of Senior High School Arts and Design in our school. This website actually served as a personal portfolio for me that I submit to my school, and this is where I write everything down. Our experiences in the arts and design strand, our activities. For example, if we went somewhere, I share it there. I asked them for their photos, and I asked them to link their portfolios through this website. So this is where I put everything. I linked everything here, even their capstone projects, their research work, their reflection papers. These, though, is not this website. I mean, is not cannot be viewed publicly except for the ad capstone 2018.wixsite.com, I believe. So yeah, this is where I put everything. General activities, even during the time that I taught grades 7 and 8, I place a teacher's corner there as well. So yeah, that's the next purpose. So from sharing, there's also a part there where I inserted this Behance. That is actually a website, an Adobe supported website, portfolio website, used by a lot of schools, not just from the Philippines, but mostly abroad. I introduced this website to my students because I saw a lot of professionals use it, and I also made my own. So I introduced this to the students because a lot of people use it, mostly professionals. A lot of student artists also uses this website called Behance. And this is how my page looks like. This is where I post some of my works, whether it's simply pictures that I took or things that I worked on. So this is stage design and some pictures from traveling. That is where I post that stuff. So you get appreciations for projects that you posted. You also get to see views. So para siyang Instagram. You also gain followers, or you can follow artists. When I introduced this website or this app to my students, I introduced it as a platform where they can browse, the new form of creative expression. Since a lot of student artists from abroad, mainly from abroad, uses this app or website, we also get to look at how art production is being done abroad. It's something that will challenge them and hopefully fuel their passion to pursue and to strive. For example, if they want to be a sculptor, they can look for different works there in the hands, get inspiration. Ano na yung klase ng sculpting na ginagawa sa ibang bansa. If some of them would also like to be an architect, they can look at different works posted there online para makita nila that this is how architecture is being done in the college level, for example, or in schools abroad. Ito yung klase ng architecture na talagang ginagawa sa totoong buhay. So Behance is actually a good platform, not just for referencing, but also showcasing your work. So I usually encourage my students to post their work online because it's a good way to reach people. There's a good amount of traffic online, and they can probably bump with a few people that can help them become more creative and who will challenge them to become better. So the last part is connect. So other than creating and sharing, I think it's really good if the students will be encouraged to connect with other people. Most of the time, yung mga students natin are really shy about sharing their work online. I, for one, do not share a bunch of my work online. I feel like if I post my work online, baka there will be a few people who will pinpoint, what's so bad about this work, etc. And that will discourage me. Um, but the reality is, we need to connect with other people so we get to know their perspective on how we can improve ourselves. So yeah, I encourage my students to post their works online, whether it be through the Behance website, or they can also explore Pinterest if they want to, while some of them opted to post their work in Instagram and Facebook. Um, this is actually a good platform, Instagram and Facebook, because it's something that our students are already used to using. They already have accounts there. They don't have to sign up anymore. But it's up to them if they want to post on Instagram and Facebook. But it's a good way to connect to other people and really get, feedback. Parents also get to see the work of their children when they post it online. So sa Instagram and Facebook, feedback for me is very important. So I highly encourage my students to get feedback from other people. That way, they don't just receive comments from me, but they also receive comments from other people, not just from their classmates as well, because I'm very appreciative, and their classmates are all appreciative of their work. So, alam mo yun, yung mga honest comments, they can get it from other people. And I think it's really good. So yeah, so the purpose of integrating technology in arts really, for me, one, in technology, or when you use technology, you get to gain a huge amount of resources, where you can explore various platforms or avenues for creating, designing, sketching or drawing, etc. Next, you get to share your work and you get to connect with the world. I think that's the main purpose, of integrating technology. The power of technology now continues to evolve. Napakadami. We have different instruments now for creating. May mga drawing pad na noon wala naman. You also have different gadgets. You also get to see, different websites that can help you out as you start. And you also reach a lot of people online, whether it be people that you don't get to talk to anymore, or the people from anywhere else. But it's a good way because as you expose yourself in technology, um, you get to know what you can do and what you can offer to this world. Technology for me is very helpful, especially bilang teacher, because it's not just an aid for me to teach art, but it's a good way for me to connect with the students. Technology is part of my students' life. Unlike my time before, where usually yung mga output namin nasa illustration board or nasa Oslo paper, ngayon napakadaming ways that you can encourage them to create. And they also have different ways to express it, which is really good. So yeah, that is all for my sharing about tech tools in discipline-based art education. And I hope you get to learn something new, and something that you can also explore yourselves and use as we engage in this new normal. So yeah, don't forget to send us your feedback. Kung meron po kayong comments or mga questions tungkol sa ating episode ngayong araw, you can comment it down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe our episode for today. And again, I'm Rikka Gonzales. I'm the former institutional art coordinator from the Santiago Isabel School And I will be teaching next year, grade 7 to 9 in junior high school, which I'm very, very excited about. Ikaw at ako ay in sa Edukasyon Digital. Maraming salamat po.